This is Chavo's neighborhood, where crazy dreams, they do come true. Chavo is misunderstood, but not by me or you. His friends are strange like you've never seen. Some are sweet and some are mean. The sneaky one, the spoiled kid, the girls who love this loony lad, the lazy guy who flips his lid, the landlord's always mad.
The teacher's in love with the lady in curlers,
the mailman who runs away from the witch. Where Chavo lives, it may be small, but big adventures are on track. He may stumble, he may fall, but he always bounces back. Welcome to his neighborhood, where crazy dreams, they do come true. Chavo is misunderstood, but not by me or you.
That's true, that's true, that's true.
Water. A simple glass of water, something far too often we take for granted. But the actual truth is that it's the single most important part of nature. Okay then, what do we know about water?
Well, that it's wet.
Yes, Phoebe, that's true. But there's something far more important. For example, what's it used for?
Oh, a whole bunch of cool things. To bathe, to drink, to eat,
Wait.
to... Huh?
Hold on. You can drink water, but you can't eat it.
That depends on what kind of water.
Well, what kind can you eat?
A watermelon.
Sit down, Phoebe. Now, who can tell me what the difference is between seawater and river water? All right, Chavo.
The difference is that river water is always running, and seawater always sits there and does nothing.
No, Chavo. It's not very healthy if anything just sits there and does nothing.
Tell that to the people in the neighborhood where you live. There's a lot of them who just sit there and do nothing. Like the witch in 71 and Mrs. Worthmore.
What did you say?
Quiet down! Quiet down! Quiet down!
Mrs. Worthmore is Professor Sausage's girlfriend.
No! What did you say?
It just slipped out, that's all.
Just sit down. And you, Junior, I don't want you to ever speak disparagingly of people in the neighborhood again. Your financial status doesn't give you the right to offend sorry saps like that. You know what I'm trying to say.
I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
Fine. There is one significant difference between seawater and river water. Seawater is quite salty, and the river water is sweet.
You said the river water's sweet?
Yes.
Oh, I guess you haven't been swimming in the river down by the dump.
I'm just saying that river water has no salt.
But the Colorado River water is salty.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, because one time I went there with a salt shaker in my hand, then I dropped it.
That sounds dumb to me.
Let's go on. Now then, does anyone here know the properties of water?
You mean water has properties?
Yes.
Like my daddy?
Oh, whatever.
Quiet down! Quiet down! Quiet down!
Not quite as boring as Professor Girafaldi. I didn't say sausage.
No, you didn't say sausage, but you did say I was boring.
Well, you heard wrong. I said soaring like an eagle. And I said that you're wise as an owl, too.
Ah, I see.
It's not my fault that eagles and owls happen to be really boring.
Ordinary water happens to have three main properties. It's colorless, it's odorless, and tasteless. Which basically means that it has no color, no odor, and no taste.
I guess you haven't been swimming in the river down by the dump. Yeah, because in that river the water is brown, it smells gross, and it tastes worse.
Gordon, that's because the water in that river and many rivers, unfortunately, has been polluted. We will discuss that issue later. In the meantime, who knows the different states of water? Phoebe?
There is water in California, and there's water in New York. And there's water in Hawaii. Actually, they've got tons of water there because they...
Phoebe.
Anything you need, Professor.
There are three different states of water. They are solid, liquid, and gas. Ice is actually water that's solid.
My dad used to work in an ice factory.
How interesting.
He did the ice factory's accounting. That's how he became the cold and calculating man he is today.
Stop, Junior! It's the first time the professor said something interesting and you keep interrupting him.
Chavo, did you just say that this is the first time I said something interesting?
It just slipped out, that's all.
Well, don't let it slip out again. Now, let's imagine that we put water into a container marked X.
Huh? Capital X or small x? Spelling counts, you know.
If we put container X over a burner, you'll soon notice that the water undergoes a change as it heats to a boil. Does anyone know at what temperature water boils?
Yeah, when it gets really, really hot.
Don't be stupid, Junior. It doesn't boil when it's hot. It boils when it's angry.
No, Chavo. Boiling and anger have nothing to do with each other.
Sure they do. Because just the other day I heard my mommy say to Mr. Raymond, "You make me so boiling mad sometimes, lowlife." You may continue now, Professor.
Yeah. We were talking about boiling water, but let's say that we let the water boil for a long time. Then we come back and we find that there's no more water left in the container. Why not?
Because Junior swallowed it.
Huh? Me?
No, Chavo. First of all, if Junior had swallowed the boiling water, he would have burned his stomach.
Yeah, so that's why he's all swelled up.
I heard that! I heard that!
Quiet, Junior, quiet. The water simply evaporated.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and what?
Tell us more. You said you were going to elaborate.
I said evaporate. The water turned into vapor. And that is the gaseous state of water. Did you know that water is the most important element for sustaining human life? For example, did you know that the human body is almost entirely water? About 70%. Yes, for every 10 parts that are in our body, 7 of them are water.
So they could do surgery with a garden hose?
Yeah, and Junior's got enough water to fill up a large swimming pool.
I heard that! I heard that!
Kiko, you should know that you have the exact same amount of water that Junior does.
Yeah, that's true. At least for the moment I do. In fact, I probably have more, too. But I have a feeling that's all about to change.
How do you know that?
Because I just can't hold it anymore. I gotta go see ya.
Well, now we know that water is important, very useful, and good for us, too.
Oh, yeah? I guess you haven't been swimming in the river down by the dump.
Oh, so what's your point exactly, huh?
Listen up. I understand what you're trying to say, Gordon, but you have to realize that it's not the river's fault, but instead man who has polluted the river.
Okay, when I grow up, I'm gonna grab a hold of that man and punch him right in the face.
No, Chavo. The one who has polluted the river is not a particular man. It's actually every man in the whole world.
can't handle that many. No way.
But there is one thing that all of us can do to help out. And that's to not contribute to the pollution problem.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Do
that's
one part and not pollute.
And there is something equally important that we can all do, children. And that's to not waste water. The person who leaves their faucet on while brushing their teeth, maybe leaving a thirsty worker who comes home after a long day without water. And the lady who leisurely spends half an hour in the shower, maybe leaving the woman who needs to wash clothes for her children without water. And the man who uses gallons to wash his car, maybe leaving the hospital or school or anyone who really needs it without water. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't want to get caught like that.
So we can all help. Some people think that we have more than enough water to go around, but the truth is that there are places where there is no water at all. So don't waste water, okay?